Terri Savelle Foy, your cheerleader of dreams, and it's no secret I am passionate about making vision boards. Every year I set my top 10 goals for the year, and is it a coincidence they keep happening? For example, I set a goal to see all 50 states by the time I'm 50 years old. Well, we reached 49 states last month, checking off 4 states in 4 days with only Alaska left, and we're going on an Alaskan cruise. I wanted to motivate and minister to the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Well, here's their photo on my vision board. And here I am at their fall retreat last month teaching the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and doing some high kicks with them. Maybe mine weren't so high. Then I wanted to do something special for my 50th birthday. I just put it on the vision board, just do something special. My team threw me an unforgettable party at the iconic Dallas Reunion Tower with friends flying in from all over the USA. It was so over the top, I'm still completely overwhelmed. I always put financial goals. I put fitness goals, business goals, relationship goals, and every year I check them off. Well, I want to show you how to make a vision board to achieve your goals in 2020. So, what are your dreams and goals for the next 12 months? I'm going to show you how to get crystal clear on your goals and make 2020 the most remarkable year yet. Now, here's the thing about having goals framed on a vision board. Clarity about your dreams is the single most important key to success. You know, years ago, when I would write my New Year's goals, this is the kind of stuff that I would write. I would say, read more, lose weight, save money, get closer to God, get organized. They were so vague and unclear, not to mention this ridiculous list was put in my nightstand and never looked at again. Does that sound familiar? Well, I not only never achieved my goals, I didn't even remember what my goals were. Once I started making a vision board, I got laser focused and determined to achieve them. So why does a vision board work? Well, it's not that the board itself causes your dreams to magically appear. It's what the realization and the clarity of your dreams does to you that makes it work. So personally, I do 2 things. I put massive long-term dreams on my vision board that could take 5 years, 10 years, who knows how long they could take. And then I put my 12-month goals that I want to achieve this year or the following year. I want you to have the tools and the answers to the questions you may have about how to make your vision board for 2020. So let's talk about your 1-year goals. See, goals are simply dreams with deadlines. Now, by having a deadline on your dreams, it creates a sense of urgency. So let's imagine it's December 31st of 2020, and you look back over the year and you enthusiastically say, "This has been the most amazing year of my life." What would need to happen for you to say something that bold? What would have to have occurred in your personal life, your finances, your family, your career, your body, for you to make such a bold statement? See, whatever your response is, those are your goals. So step number 1 is I want you to just write your top 10 goals for the year. Does it mean you paid off that credit card of $4,000? You went on a cruise or a dream trip with your girlfriends? Does it mean you lost 25 pounds and now you weigh your ideal body weight of 130 pounds? Or you saved $10,000? You read 12 books? You started your own ministry or business or blog or YouTube channel? You wrote and printed your first book? See, what needs to happen for 2020 to be your best year yet? In fact, comment below one of your big goals for 2020 because I'd love to read it. So here's the thing. Writing your goals instantly moves you into the top 3% of the most successful people in the world who do this. So start writing one right now in the comments. Remember, goals determine what drives you. So let me mention real quick some mistakes in goal setting. People get excited about goals, but they tend to start out setting unrealistic goals in the beginning. Things like, I want to be a millionaire. I'm going to lose 50 pounds. I'm going to write 4 books. I'm going to have 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I'm going to save $500,000. Well, here's the thing. If you set goals that may take longer than 12 to 18 months to achieve, it destroys your confidence. So let's just imagine if you had a bow and arrow and you're trying to hit a target for the first time, you're not going to put it 100 feet away. It's too far starting out. So your chance of success at hitting is too low. So you bring it 5 feet away to build your confidence. Then you move it 10 feet away, then 20. Well, you do the same thing with your goals. See, if your goals are all unrealistic, you're going to feel like a failure. You're going to feel like, what's the point in even doing this? So most success coaches recommend you set goals that have about a 50% chance of possibility. Step number 2 is you start finding images to match your top 10 goals for the year. So you go through each goal one by one and you research images that illustrate each goal. You hold that picture in your mind of you achieving that goal. Now, I just go online and print photos and even crop my head in some of them, chop people's heads off, put my head on there. Personally, I prefer to have numbers next to each of my top 10 goals for the year. Step number 3, write them in the present tense. Don't just say, I will save $5,000, I will lose weight, I will stop smoking. No, those phrases put your dreams off into the future someday, but not now. So write them in the positive present tense declarations, like, I successfully saved $5,000, or I am enjoying a debt-free life of $17,000 paid in full. Step number 4, assign a deadline to each goal. Now, it serves as this driving force, and don't make all of your deadlines by December 31st, because that just causes you to procrastinate and wait till the end of the year to hurry and try to check them off. Step number 5, look at your goals consistently. Now, this is so important. You must keep them in a prominent place that you will constantly look at. So to illustrate this, let's say goal number 1 is save $5,000. Then print out a photo of cash. Then write the vision. I successfully saved $5,000 by December 31st. Well, what I like to do is break it down even more. I put increments of $5,000, $4,900, $4,800, $4,700, all the way down to $100. And every time, I get another $100, I mark it through because it is so motivating to see those highlights on your vision board. Let's just say goal number 2 is to vacation in Hawaii. Place a photo of Hawaii, the resort you want to stay in, or the excursions you want to take. You could crop yourself at the beach. Research the cost to achieve this goal. It could be flights, hotel, meals, excursions, spending money, and then write the vision. Say, I am vacationing with my family in Hawaii by July 31st, $7,000. Here's another example. Let's say you want to pay off your car. You could even take a photo of you doing your little victory jump, standing by your car with your hands up, celebrating your debt-free car. Call the bank and find out the balance remaining. Write the vision. Say, I am driving a debt-free car by September 30th, $6,436.08. So, that's how I set my goals for the new year and how I check them off year after year. Okay. So, I met a girl last weekend who came to my conference and listened to what she said. She said she came to a conference 6 years ago in Tyler, Texas. She was in a season in her life where she was just stuck. She lost hope and all vision for her life, really didn't have any goals. She said she was feeling so down, but for some reason, she knew she was supposed to hear the message. She heard me talk about making a dream journal or making a vision board. So she went to Office Depot, got a 3-ring binder, and she started writing her dreams. Well, God began to remind her of dreams that she had forgotten about. But she thought those dreams were just hopeless, she said. One of them was going back to school to become a nurse. Her vision came alive on the inside of her, and at 32 years old, she went back to school, got her degree, got her nursing certificate, and is now a full-time hospice nurse and loves her life. She brought her whole office staff to hear me recently to inspire them to keep dreaming. In other words, don't look at all the years you've lost, let's look at the years you've got left. Well, I want that for you. But sometimes we don't know what we want because we haven't been exposed to more. See, it wasn't until she came to a conference, got in an environment that caused her to just wonder and start asking, does God have more for me? Well, I want to challenge you to think bigger because God does have more for your life. Start praying for things that stretch your faith. See, If you can accomplish all of your dreams and goals in your own strength, then you don't even need God's help. I always tell people, don't just ask for gas in the car, ask to pay off the car. Don't just ask for enough money to pay your bills, ask for money to put money in your savings account. Don't just ask for food on the table, ask to bless the family at that other table too. This friend of mine, I tell her, I say, don't just ask for any husband, ask for a millionaire because she has a wealthy mindset. She has a t-shirt that says, I love long romantic walks to the bank, which I think is funny. But, I heard this story about a man who, he lost his wife of many years. Later, he remarried, and he said he wanted new furniture in his home to start this new beginning. He kept believing, Well, his son called, and his son won $37 million winning the lottery. Well, he bought his dad furniture, a car, a brand new house, more than he could ask or think. He said he taught his kids 3 things. 1, don't smoke. 2, don't drink. 3, don't gamble. He said 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I just thought that was funny. But my point is, get your hopes up. Expect God to do something big in your life. I'm not saying win the lottery, but I'm just saying the only way you can get your hopes up is through exposure. I heard this story about a frog that was born at the bottom of a well. Now bear with me, I promise there's a point to this. He and his family lived there, and he was content, and happy just splashing around there. But as he got older, he saw a light at the top and he wondered what was up there. He thought he had all the water in the world. Well, with great caution, he looked over the edge. First thing he saw was a pond, thousands of times more water than he had. Then he hopped to a lake. He couldn't believe all the water. Then he hopped more and more to an ocean, water as far as he could see, miles and miles of water. He began to realize that his vision was so limited. He thought he had it all, but he began to realize it was only just a drop in the bucket compared to what God had for him. Well, my point in this cute little frog story is that the dream in your heart may be bigger than the environment you find yourself in. That's why you need to expose yourself to more. See, your environment, it teaches you to be content. But God is saying, break out of your comfort zone, see bigger, think bigger, because God does have more for you. That's why, I host my annual Icing Women's event in Dallas each year, because something powerful happens when you get around other women in an environment that's exciting, it's positive, it's faith-filled, and it just inspires you to believe God has more for your life. I heard this story about a university professor. He was getting ready, to pass out the final exams, which was the most important lesson of the year. Well, before he passed it out, he told the class how proud he was of them. Because they'd done so good, he made them a special offer. He said, anyone that would like to receive an automatic C on this test, raise your hand. He said, you don't even have to take the test. You get an automatic C. He said it was quiet for a while. All of a sudden, one hand like cowardly went up, then another, until about half the class got up and walked out of the class. They were so relieved, so happy. Well, the professor went on to pass the test out to the rest of the students, and he placed it face down on their desk. He asked them to not turn it over until he instructed them to do so. Well, for the next few minutes, he encouraged them on how they were going to go far in life, that they should always strive to do their best in life. Then he gave them the word that it was time to turn the test over and get started. When they turned over the papers, it only had 2 sentences. Congratulations, you just made an A. The ones who stayed believed they had what it took to get an A. Why settle for a C when you can get an A? Well, this is what we do many times in life. We settle for a C, not realizing God had an A in our future. When you learn to, just live with it, you're settling for a C. So my question is, you might be saying, but Terri, what about my age? You don't know how old I am. You don't know how many years I've lost, how many missed opportunities I've had. I'm glad you brought that up because maybe you didn't, I did. But I proved the point in the book Dream It, Pen It, Live It that your age does not matter. Listen to this. At age 40, Lucille Ball debuted as Lucy Ricardo in the comedy I Love Lucy. She was 40. At 44, Sam Walton started Walmart. At 53, Walt Disney opened his first theme park, Disneyland, in Anaheim, California. At 69, after 22 years of work, Noah Webster published the dictionary. I could go on and on. At 77, astronaut John Glenn returned to space on the Space Shuttle Discovery mission. So, you are not too old. You've not wasted too many years. And you know what? You'll never be truly fulfilled if you keep settling for C's. In fact, you're doing the best thing for yourself by watching podcasts like this one, but don't let this be a one-time thing. See, faith comes by hearing. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast right now so you get constant faith-building, positive teaching to retrain your mind that God does have more for your life. You know, I'm passionate about teaching you to, make a vision board, to set goals for your life and constantly grow to the next level. See, the truth is, what you achieve isn't nearly as important as who you become as you're working towards your goals. Here's the truth. As you're working on the goal is working on you. So you got to keep your faith built up. And see, successful people never stop growing. I was listening to a podcast where they were saying Mary Kay Ash of Mary Kay Cosmetics said she would never get in her car without audios that she could listen to while driving. H.L. Hunt, who was worth $3 billion at the time of his death, he listened to audio recordings every day until after he was 80 years old. Wallace Johnson, the co-founder of the Holiday Inns, he said at 80 years old, he listens to messages every day and reads 2 books every month. Alan Bean, one of the astronauts who walked on the moon, he said that on their way to the moon and back, they listened to motivational teachings like Zig Ziglar. Isn't that amazing? So think about it. These successful people who represent the most goal-oriented people in the world, they found it helpful to consistently listen to motivational teaching to keep your faith built up. So what do you do once your vision board is up? While you're waiting for your dreams to manifest? In 3 words, build your faith. Keep exposing yourself to more. Let me close out with this. I heard Joel Osteen tell this story about bumblebees, talking about how researchers took them up into space to study the effects of weightlessness on them. Now, I've shared this many times, but it's worth repeating. He said they're studying these bees. They're just floating around in space. They're not having to flap their wings, nothing. All of a sudden, on the 4th day, they all died, every one of them. He said the scientists concluded that the bees were not designed to live without resistance. And neither are you. We weren't created to just float through life on a cloud with no resistance. Difficulties, they're just a part of life. So you have an enemy who is fighting against your dreams. He's trying everything in his power to wipe you out, to keep you from living your dreams. You have to keep your faith built up. And how do you know the famous Helen Keller? She was blind and deaf. And they asked her one time, they said, what could be worse than having no sight? She said to have sight but have no vision. That would be the worst thing, to have sight but have no vision for your life. Now let me explain to you why it's vitally important that you have a vision and a vision board. Let's just imagine it's pouring down rain outside. You jump in your car, you turn the car on, it turns on fine. You turn on your lights, you turn on your air conditioning, whatever it is, everything seems to be working, even the radio, except for one thing. Pouring down rain, and your windshield wiper is not working. How many of you know you're not going anywhere? See, as long as your vision is impaired, you're going to stay where you are. And it's the same with life. If you have no vision, then this year will just be a repeat of last year. In fact, the Bible tells us in Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. Now, obviously, the word perish means die. The word die, it means die. I looked it up. Well, that's what's happening. If you don't have a vision, something that you're aiming towards, then you're just perishing year after year. In fact, they've proven that the average person who retires dies within 3 years of retirement. Why? Because they had no vision, no reason, no purpose to get up in the morning and aim towards something. Well, once you get a dream, a vision, a goal to aim towards, you won't be in this same place next year at this time. I'm telling you from experience. And I love getting testimonies from people who have read this book, they're making their vision boards, and now they're truly living their dreams. I think about a girl in Minnesota who opened up her own gym. She was a fitness trainer for years, and then she said, I want my own gym. She sent me pictures of her standing in front of her gym saying, I did it. Then a lady in Colorado, she said she had been driving a bus for 31 years. Nothing wrong with that, but she said, I just felt like God has more for my life. Well, she read the book, she made a vision board. She said, Terri, I just got my real estate license to start selling homes in Vail, Colorado. I love that. Well, I'm thinking about a single mom of 4 kids, recently divorced, living in Switzerland. She took a train to come hear me speak in Germany, and after hearing this message, she made her vision board, launched her own cleaning company, and she said, I'm hiring employees. Isn't that amazing? I think about another couple who opened their own restaurant in Mississippi, and they were voted one of the best restaurants in their city. Well, in fact, just recently, I was in Denver, and I met this precious girl after I spoke at a conference, and she could hardly wait to come up to me with a letter printed out of everything she has achieved since she made her vision board. She said she started watching this podcast 18 months ago on YouTube, and she said for the first time, she decided to stop watching everybody else live their dreams and get serious about going after hers. Now listen to some of the things that she has achieved in less than 2 years. She lost 70 pounds. She bought her dream car, a Jeep. She went skydiving. She completed her nursing exam after failing it in the past. She has read 50 books in less than 2 years. She moved to Denver and got her dream job. She got a $5,000 signing bonus, and she said she's tripled her income. That amazes me. But I'm telling you, this can happen to you. In fact, I heard someone say, the worst day in heaven would be when God gives you a glimpse of all that you could have had, all that you could have done, and all that you could have been. But for some reason, you gave up. For some reason, you wouldn't give yourself permission to dream. Well, God has so much more for your life, but you've got to get crystal clear on what you want. In fact, Steve Harvey says, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Well, one of the most important keys to success is to grab a pen and paper and write your dreams and goals. In fact, there was a professor at Virginia Tech who did research on successful people and people who write their goals. He said he walked up to random people on the street and he just asked them one question. He said, what are your goals? What are your goals for life? He said 80% said, I don't know. I don't have any. 16% said, I have some, but I've never written them down. 3% said, I've written my goals at some point, but I don't know where they are. 1% said, I have goals, I've written them down, and I review them on a consistent basis. In other words, they're constantly before my eyes. He said, do you know who the 1% were? Millionaires. And the clues these millionaires gave us is number 1, I have dreams and goals. Number 2, I write them down. And number 3, I keep them before my eyes. Well, this principle comes from the Word of God. God's the one who said in Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision and make it plain. Well, you have to have a vision and you've got to keep it before your eyes. You've heard that expression, out of sight, out of mind. Well, it's true. See, your life moves toward the dominating images that you keep before your eyes. In fact, there's a principle in the Word of God that you become what you behold. You become what you behold. So my question is, what are you beholding? What are you looking at? When you try to imagine your life 5 years from now, what do you see? God's the one who said in His Word, He said, all that your eyes can see can be yours. So, isn't it time you fix your eyes on your future, your dreams, your goals? Just as you would never get in a car and just start driving, having no idea where you're headed, you should never go through life without a clear, mapped out destination. In fact, I love this about Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is what he said. He said, I decorated my bedroom wall as a teenager. Right next to my bed, there was a big wall that I decorated with pictures. He said, I hung up pictures of strong men, bodybuilders, wrestlers, and boxers. I was driven to think big and to dream big. He said, everybody thought I was crazy. But what you do is create a vision of who you want to be and then live into that picture as if it were already true. Well, how do you start? Where do you begin? I've shared this on other podcasts, but I love what I heard about Will Smith. Will Smith, he acts in movies, but he also produces them and directs them. Well, a guy was visiting his house one day, and he said when he walked in, he saw this big glass wall with like 150 little index cards all over the wall. So he asked him, he said, "What is that?" Will Smith said, "That's my next movie I'm working on." He said, "But what are all these cards?" He said, "Those are my different scenes. I move them around, conflicts and victories, good characters, bad characters." The guy said, "This looks so confusing." He said, "How do you even know where to start?" Will Smith said, "That's the easy part." He said, "You always start with the final scene. You decide how you want it to end, and then you work towards it." Well, see, that's what your vision board is. You're starting with how you want the next 5 years to be, how you want the end of this year, December 31st, how do you want it to end? The Bible says that God's the one who declares the end from the beginning. So think about it. How do you want this year to end? How do you want the next 12 months to wrap up? Imagine it's December 31st of this year, and you say, "This has been the most amazing year of my life." Well, what needs to happen for you to say that? See, whatever it is, write it down. So many people say, "Terri, I've made too many mistakes. I've missed too many opportunities. I've wasted too many years." Well, I always say this: stop looking at the years you've lost. Let's look at the years you've got left and live your dreams. I don't believe you're watching this by accident. I believe God's trying to get your attention, that it's time for you to get serious about your future, your dreams, and your goals. And remember, when the vision is clear, the results will appear. You owe it to yourself to live your dreams. Let me show you how. Hey, I want to share with you something absolutely free, how to do a vision board checklist so that you can make your own vision board this year. But I'll share that at the end, because first I want to teach you this. They say to create a vision that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning. But then others say your future depends on your dreams. So go back to sleep. I'm just kidding. I want to share with you proof that vision boards work. I have figured out how to stay motivated to go after your dreams in a fun, compelling way. So that's why I want to teach you today proof that vision boards work. Steve Harvey said, "You have got to create dream boards." He said, "You've got to put a picture of the new car, the weight you want to be." He said, "If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand." I love that. Well, in an interview with Oprah, Steve Harvey explained why he's committed to having vision boards. And of course, in Steve Harvey's words, this is what he said. He said, "Man, if I didn't have no vision board, I'd be in trouble." He said, "You got to keep it in front of you. It's on my laptop. It's on my screen, on my phone. It's on my iPad. It's on my desktop." Well, Oprah was completely fascinated by Steve Harvey's interest in having a vision board and keeping it in front of him. And she said how 10 years ago, on the Oprah show, she was talking about vision boards, and all these people were skeptical, saying it doesn't work. Well, she pointed to Steve Harvey emphatically and said, "You are living proof. It absolutely does work." She said, "You have to have a vision and a plan to execute so that every step moves you in the direction of your vision." Well, Steve Harvey, he's continued to explain how big and crazy his dreams are and how others would laugh at how ridiculously big the vision is. In fact, some of his dreams are sending 10,000 children to college paid for by him and his wife personally. 10,000. Exploring Africa to help build the infrastructure of the roads. He has a type of airplane he wants to own. He said he even takes it a step further by putting some of his most important dreams on the inside of his cuffs, of his pants, and he said he literally has the tailor hem them on the inside of his pants. Well, do what you need to do to keep your vision in front of you continually. I mean, that's taking it a whole nother level, isn't it? But do you know that the more vivid you paint a picture of where you want to go, the more decisive you will become? If you sometimes wonder whether it's really that important to mess around with adding pictures to your vision board, I'm telling you from experience, it's worth the effort. Your mind thinks in pictures, it doesn't think in words. Have you ever seen a young boy who's really into football or basketball and his whole bedroom is just covered with sports memorabilia? He is surrounding himself with what he wants. That's vision. And that's exactly what Arnold Schwarzenegger did when he was a young teenager in Austria. He said he covered his bedroom wall with bodybuilders and wrestlers and strong men. He said you get an image of what you want to be, and then you live into that image. Well, I've heard stories of, people like actress Emma Stone, another redhead. She said how she went against all odds to pursue her dream of acting by creating a vision for her parents to see. Well, she had to get crystal clear and convince them that moving to Hollywood was the best thing for their family. I think they lived in Phoenix or something. How did she do that? By showing them her dream in clear, compelling details. She said she created a PowerPoint presentation about why she should pursue a career in acting, and she called it Project Hollywood. She even added background music to her proposal by playing Madonna's hit single, Hollywood. Well, Emma Stone's mother packed her bags and followed her to Los Angeles. Emma Stone was only 15 years old at the time, and of course today she's an Academy Award-winning actress, you name it. But see, that's the power of seeing your vision and keeping it before your eyes. Well, you may have heard me tell the story of singer Drake and how he told Rolling Stone magazine how he obtained his dream home. He said he showed them a photo and he said this picture, this is just a pretend one, was the desktop image on his computer for years. Drake said one day he just wondered, what are the world's craziest swimming pools? And when he researched online, this house came up. Well, the research was done in 2007. Think about this. At the time he's Googling outrageous swimming pools just to enlarge his ability to dream, he was unsigned to anyone. He wasn't loaded with money. He wasn't ready to purchase a mansion in Beverly Hills. However, he didn't let that stop him from getting a vision and keeping it before his eyes. Well, in 2009, the house hit the market with an asking price of $27 million. Few years later, the seller of this ideal home with the crazy swimming pool was at a low moment, Drake said. He said he needed some money. In 2012, Drake obtained that very property that, was valued at $27 million for $7.7 million. Drake said, I stole it from him. Now let that sink in. Only 5 years after he researched his dream property with no means to obtain it, he was living in it. He kept the vision before him on his computer screen, always in front of him, and he eventually walked right into it. So what I'm saying is find a photo of your dream house, your ideal body, your perfect vacation. Superimpose your photo on the cover of a book, a magazine, or a newspaper. Get pictures of the bedroom furniture you desire or the wedding ring. I had my wedding ring, this one, on a vision board because after 25 years of marriage, I was like, I want a bigger one. This very ring was on my vision board. Put a picture of the car you desire to drive. Find photos to match each of your dreams and have fun with this. Instead of always framing the past, your graduation pictures, the family vacation from 20 years ago, the wedding pictures from 1991. There's nothing wrong with that. But why not frame your future too? Showcase where you believe God has taken your life. And you know what? It's exciting, it's compelling, and it drives you to not settle where you are, but rather long for where you want to be. Get your family involved in this. We have families enrolled in the vision board course. Fix your eyes on a vision board. The law of attraction basically states that whatever you focus on, you will attract it in your life. Well, Proverbs 23:7 says the same thing. Whatever a man thinks in his heart, so shall he become. So what you think about, you bring about. Well, when you look at pictures of where you're headed, it gets planted into your subconscious mind, and your subconscious doesn't know anything different than make it happen. Is it a coincidence that once I started writing my dreams and goals and then adding pictures to illustrate them, reviewing them daily, that they started happening? Not one bit. And I'm talking about very specific dreams, like I remember I wrote, be the keynote speaker at the Amway conference. That's pretty specific. Minister at the largest church in France. See my books in the CTC bookstore in Paris. Motivate the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Have offices in Rockwall, Texas. Meet Oprah Winfrey. Go to the White House. Get invited to the White House. Everything on my vision board years ago is a reality today. So what am I going to do? I'm going to keep designing new ones, right? Well, when you design a vision board, you are literally surrounding yourself with what can be, not just what is. You're framing your future. Now, here's another reason why it's so important that you see your vision rather than keep it in a desk drawer only to be viewed on New Year's Day. The reason why is because we move towards what we consistently see. They say keep your goals out of reach, but never out of sight. So keep your vision board in front of you at all times. And when you look at your most important goals and your big vision, your motivation goes to a whole new level. So I want you to write your top 10 goals for this year and then find pictures to match each goal and put them on your vision board. So I'm telling you, you're going to have fun with this, and I can't wait for you to send me your story of what you've achieved this year. And don't forget, I'm cheering you on to live your dreams. In fact, I want to share our YouTube subscriber of the week, Sophie Humphreys. Sophie says this: "Hey, Miss Terri, my name is Sophie, and I'm about to be 16. I just wanted to say that I made a vision board about 4 or 5 months ago, and I put a picture of the type of car I wanted on it. I told the Lord that I wanted it to be between in 2016 2018, and every time I look at the board, I would thank the Lord that I already had the car." I love that. And today, I was blessed with a 2017 car of my dreams. Thank you for all you do and for encouragement. Praise Jesus. Sophie, I am so happy for you, and I'm so grateful that you sent your story in. God is no respecter of persons. Isn't He amazing when we get crystal clear on our dreams and goals? So Sophie, congratulations. We are just so happy for you. I discovered a way for you to stay motivated to go after your dreams in a fun, compelling way, like I've said, with vision boards. And I have proof that they work. You know, more than anything, I want you to get a compelling vision and stay motivated throughout the year to go after it. So click the link in the description or go to terri.com/checklist to get my vision board checklist that will help you create your own vision board easily. Okay, don't laugh, but this is how I visualize my ideal body. I find the body of my dreams, chop off their head, and put mine on top, and then put it on my vision board. Hey, you have to see it on the inside before it shows up on the outside, right? Well, I'm Terri Savelle Foy, your cheerleader of dreams. It's no secret, I love vision boards. You know, I remember running into a lady at the mall one time who said, "You're that vision board lady." Well, I've been making them since 2012, and I have literally seen crazy big dreams manifest. Now, I want to help you make your vision board, but I also want to share the one thing that will stop you from manifesting your dreams if you do this. And I speak from experience. Without fail, it will stop you from living your dreams. You know, once I learned the power of having vision and making a vision board, I started putting all kinds of things on there. In fact, let me just share some of my random dreams and just fun desires. For example, one time I wrote that I wanted to ride bikes in Amsterdam, Holland. Now, it's like the bike capital of the world, seriously. Rodney and I had a layover in Amsterdam one time, and we walked around the city. We had like a 7-hour layover. We walked around the city, and we almost got hit by a couple hundred bikes going by. I'm not exaggerating, but it gave me an idea, so I wrote that I'd like to one day ride bikes in Amsterdam. Well, here I am with my little family riding bikes all over Amsterdam, and no crashes, thank God. Number 2, I wrote that I wanted my books translated in 5 languages. Now, I don't know publishers in other nations. I don't know how this could ever happen, but I wrote the vision, and one by one, we began to get phone calls from publishers. We now have this book, Imagine Big, in English, German, French, Spanish, and this year it was translated into Dutch for the sweet people in Amsterdam. Is that a coincidence? Not one bit. It's the power of having a vision and keeping that vision before your eyes. Well, now I increased my goal to 25 languages. The third example I want to give you is I had a desire one day to just stay in an apartment in Paris and write my next book. Now, when I wrote that dream, I couldn't afford to take time off and just stay in an apartment in Europe for a couple weeks and just write. But I wrote the vision anyway. In fact, I have this quote on my vision board that says, "An apartment in Paris, surrounded by photos of Paris." Well, here I am in this quaint apartment in the most beautiful city in the world. And check this out, sitting on my balcony overlooking the Eiffel Tower, what a view, writing my book called The 5 Things Successful People Do Before 8 a.m. In fact, here's another one. This year, I had a dream to pay off our land. You know, Rodney and I bought 8 acres of land to build our dream home on the lake. Well, I had no idea how I could do this. In fact, I did the math, and it was impossible. This land cost more than our last house. But as Steve Harvey says, if you can see it in your mind, you'll eventually hold it in your hand. Well, as of September 2nd, we paid off our land. We're debt-free landowners. Thank you, Jesus. So I'm telling you, the power of vision will change your life and your results. In fact, one more real quick. You might think this is kind of cute. You know, Rodney and I had a shotgun wedding. We were young, we were scared, and we were broke back in 1991. Well, Rodney got me a wedding ring that I loved. It was all he could afford, and it was priceless to me. It wasn't spectacular, but it was special. And I kept telling him I did not want another ring because of the memories behind that first ring. Well, as my faith grew through the years, my vision grew. And one day, I just Googled wedding rings, and I put this gorgeous photo of a wedding ring on my vision board. On my 25th wedding anniversary, we had dinner at the Reunion Tower in Dallas, and I received a ring identical to the one on my vision board. So I'm telling you, I have seen dream after dream come true using my vision board and getting clear on my dreams. And now I have, this entire book on how to make vision boards. And I get testimonies daily from people all over the world who are applying these steps and just checking them off one by one. So what is a vision board? Well, a vision board is simply a collage of pictures and images illustrating your dreams. That's it. Now, it can range from places you want to go, things you want to have, aspirations you want to achieve, or your personal life goals. See, it's where you get to frame your future instead of only framing your past. I mean, think about it. We usually only frame where we've been and what we've already done. But God is the one who said in Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, write it in big, bold letters so it can be read on the run. That sounds like a vision board to me. Okay, so why do vision boards work? It's not that the board itself causes your dreams to just magically appear. It's what the realization and clarity of your dreams does to you that makes it work. And there's a powerful principle from the Word of God that you become what you behold. See, we move towards what we consistently see. God even said in Scripture, He said, all that your eyes can see can be yours. So let's fix your eyes on your future. Now, before you start gluing and pinning, let me just tell you what I like to do first. Okay, number one is write. Just start writing what you want to do, where you want to go, what you want to have, who you want to become. Now, keep in mind, dreams and visions are different than goals. Goals are dreams with deadlines, and I talk about that in other videos. And I cover it all in my book. But every year I make a new vision board that still has my big dreams all around it. The ones that I don't have a clue how long they're going to take, but I always update my top 10 goals for the year. But for now, let's focus on your big dreams. We have no clue how long these will take to manifest. So right now, I just want you to dream and dream big. And a quick way to help you get started, sometimes it's good to just start with a few desires of your heart. Like, where would you like to travel? What would you like to drive? What would you like to own? How much money would you like to save? Where would you like to work? Or which university would you like to attend? Who would you like to meet? Or what does your ideal physical body look like? So number one is just write. Number two is get inspired. Go to Pinterest or look through magazines for inspiration. Sometimes you just need to get that imagination stirred up. And when you see photos of exotic places or adventurous experiences, number three is get your vision board. It could be a poster board from your local pharmacy or supermarket, or a cork board from any craft store. It can be a magnetic board. There's even crafty boards now that actually say vision at the top. And, I like to just use a simple cork board, and then I wrap it with a big, beautiful frame to just dress it up and display it. Number four is you cut out pictures that match your dreams. Now, this is the fun part. See, after you've written some of your dreams and aspirations, then you get to match them with pictures. And it could even be things like a phrase that says New York Times best-selling author, or your dream house by the water, or an Alaskan cruise, or 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And you might feel embarrassed or ridiculous at first because they look so impossible. But the power of vision turns what once was impossible into probable and then proof. There it is. Sounds like that song, Proof. There it is. I'm way off, okay. But listen, I have 1 million subscribers on YouTube on my vision board. And yes, it looks ridiculous. But I also remember when the dream of reaching 100,000 subscribers looked nuts. But here I am, receiving the YouTube Silver Play Award for achieving that dream. So just dream it. Now here's a few things you're gonna need. Push pins, maybe not this size, but push pins or glue. And you can decide which works best for you. I use push pins so you can remove the dreams and goals once you achieve them and then put them in a book of accomplishments. Number 2, you saw my giant scissors. You gotta have scissors. Number 3, pens, markers, stencil, or you can type your words and print them out. The fun thing about a vision board is that it's as unique as you are, so just make it your own. And it doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be done. And remember, most people don't even know what they want, much less take the time to visualize their dreams and keep it before their eyes. So you are miles ahead of most of the world in simply following through with this project. And the good news is you can always change it up as you go along. So have fun designing your vision board. This is your future and you get to frame it. So why do some not work? Let me close out with this. What is it that will stop you from manifesting these big dreams? Here's my warning. You've got to focus on the what, not the how. See, when you make a vision board, if you focus solely on how could this seriously happen? How could this happen to me? When you do that, you are limiting yourself and you're limiting what God wants to do in your life. The how will show up, but you have to dream it first without regard to how you can have these big dreams. In fact, act as if you're a child and you're being asked, what would you like for Christmas? Put it on a board. See, most children are not the least bit concerned with how their parents are going to afford the gifts or if they're asking too big. They just dream. Well, use your imagination. Imagine it's 5 years from now and you're living the life of your dreams. What does it look like? Where do you live? Where do you work? Where do you vacation? How much money can you give away to ministries and charitable works? Just dream. So here's the power of the vision board. The more you look at it, the more comfortable you get with those dreams, and what once looked so ridiculous will soon become so realistic. So you become what you behold. Whatever you keep before your eyes, it will eventually show up in your life. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel, and I'm cheering you on to live your dreams. Hey YouTube! Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and to get more inspirational content, click one of these videos right here. And remember, I'm cheering you on to live your dreams.